Hello and welcome to News Prime on Global Television. I am Priscilla Obasi and we're in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. President Bola Tinubu has returned to Nigeria from Kenya after an outing at the 5th mid-year coordination meeting of the African Union. Tinubu, who arrived at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, was received by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, Chief of Staff Femi Bajabiamila, Imo State Governor Senator Hope Uzodinma, and former Kano State Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. The president, however, on Monday departed from Nairobi, where he met with other leaders of the continent last weekend. Among issues discussed at the AU meeting in Nairobi were deliberations and conclusions reaffirming Africa's unity and strength and rejection of a new scramble for Africa. Tinubu also committed his strength to strengthening the ECOWAS standby force to deter coup and terrorism in sub-regions. President Bola Tinubu has warned that nullifying the February 25 election that pronounced him as president on the account of the fact that he did not score 25% of the lawful votes cast during the election in the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) and could lead to absurdity, chaos, anarchy, and alteration of the very intention of the legislature. Tinubu told Presidential Election Petition Court that two petitions filed by candidates of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, and his counterpart of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, seeking the nullification of his victory at the February 25 presidential election, are not novel but not familiar with the country's electoral laws. Tinubu's submissions were contained in his final written address against the two petitions pending at the PREPEC. The five-member panel had on July 5 given the respondents in two separate petitions 10 days to file their written address, while the petitioners were given 7 days to reply. The Deputy National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress (APC), Senator Abubakar Kyari, has emerged as the party's acting national chairman. Kyari succeeded Senator Abdullahi Adamu as the party's chairman after a National Working Committee (NWC) meeting in Abuja on Monday. Chung Anamel Joseph has details.
Kyari formally announced the resignation of Adamu and Senator Iola Omishore as the party's national chairman and national secretary, respectively. Kyari further says, in line with the constitution of the party, the Deputy National Secretary, Festus Fuanta, will serve as the acting National Secretary of the APC.
NWC wishes to inform you the resignation of the National Chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, CON, and that of the National Secretary, Senator Iola Omishore. There are no allegations at this point. The two individuals have resigned voluntarily, and that is what is available at this moment.
Adamu was absent from the NWC meeting on Monday, while Omishore stormed out of the meeting held at the party secretariat in Abuja. Kyari, who represented Borno North Senatorial District in the 9th National Assembly, presided over the APC NWC meeting. Chonganamel Joseph, Global TV News.
The federal government has confirmed the first case of anthrax in Nigeria. The disease is a spore-forming bacterium which mostly affects livestock like cattle, sheep, and goats. Recall that the federal government had issued a warning to Nigerians weeks ago after learning of an anthrax outbreak in northern Ghana, where all affected animals had died. A statement released by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development on Monday, signed by the Chief Veterinary Officer of Nigeria, Dr. Kolumba T. Vakuru, revealed that animals showing signs of a possible case of anthrax on a farm in Suleja, Niger State, were reported to the Office of the Chief Veterinary Officer of Nigeria on July 14, 2023. It appealed to Nigerians to immediately report cases of animals bleeding from body openings to veterinary authorities on agriculture extension workers. The immediate past governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, has called on the 17th northern groups under the coalition of Fulbe organization in Nigeria to pursue lasting peace among herdsmen in the country. He made the call at the Fulbe inaugural meeting in Abuja, decrying the rising communal clashes between farmers and herdsmen, noting that the very essence of pastoralists was to raise livestock. Our correspondent Eddie Khan Michael reports that the former Kano State governor condemned the replacement of sticks with gun, which according to him has orchestrated the wars among two historical peaceful parties.
The struggle between herders and farmers in Nigeria over farmland and pasture is a serious and escalating conflict, registering huge casualties and raising tensions, particularly in the country's middle belt. Drought and desertification in the north have forced pastoralist herdsmen to seek grazing lands for the south, resulting in competition over resources and clashes with settled farmers.
This is just the nucleus. We shall continue, we will widen, we will deepen the composition of this commission. We will bring in all the professionals, all the stakeholders, veterinary doctors, medical doctors, engineers of different types, business, community. Because all hands must be in deck.
On his path, the convener and former governor of Bauchi State, Isai Yaguda, says Fulbe Association is the right steps to end the conflict between Fulani pastoralists and farmers, calling on the organization to brace up for the task ahead while appealing to stakeholders towards working in harmony in addressing problems facing the Fulbe communities in the country to foster a productive partnership with the government.
There is an absolute need to come together. As the saying goes, united we stand, divided we fall, given the circumstance on the ground. And as a coalition, it's not about our interests as a Fulbe, but the interests of the larger Nigeria that is our country, including the close to 500 tribal groups. Because what is good for us should be and must be also good for other tribal tribes in Nigeria.
The events had in attendance national experts of the groups among ex-victims. Eddie and Michael, Global TV News.
The president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, during the 10th National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, NILDS, University of Benin matriculation ceremony for postgraduate programs in Abuja on Monday, said the 10th Assembly will pass quality legislation that would raise the standard of education in the country. Akpabio said he's aware of the current state of education in the country and assured that the current administration is committed to addressing the nagging issues that border on education instability and restiveness in tertiary institutions. This, he said, is evident in the recently assented Student Loan Act by President Bola Tinubu to ensure access to education for all. Represented by the Deputy President of the Senate, Jibril Barrow, Akpabio implored the matriculating students to see the opportunity of their admission as a great privilege, and the knowledge they will acquire cannot be found in conventional universities. Adding that the programs will offer the matriculants the required knowledge to contribute to the nation's democracy and national development. An agricultural expert, Mohammed Liman, has featured and faulted the federal government's plan to reopen borders with its West Africa's neighbor. Liman, who was a guest on Global TV's Global Morning on Monday, also expressed confidence in the President Bola Tinubu's administration ability to deliver on the state of emergency it declared on food and security.
It's disastrous.
So you would rather we keep the border shut?
Yes, because now you are not encouraging the farmers.
Local production?
Yeah, local production. Who are farming this rice, this maize or what have you. You are not encouraging them. If these crops they are coming into Nigeria. That means even the rice mills established all around in Nigeria over trillions of naira, then it has become useless. Because the common man does not understand the importance of our local rice. Our local rice is nutritious, health-wise good, because it is not a contaminated rice.
Scores of constitutional and human rights lawyers today stormed the Abuja High Court to commence committal proceedings against the Director General of State Security Service, Yusuf Bichi, for what they termed violation of multiple judgments and order of court directing the release of former Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele from custody of the consortium of lawyers led by Maxwell Opara and Ahmed Tijani have prayed to the court to commit Bichi to prison until he purges himself of the contempt. Kikelome Okere completes the report.
In their motion filed before the court and issuing of Form 48 and Form 49, which are the forms to commence proceedings to commit a contemnor to prison, the lawyers assert that by the judgment and orders of Justice Hassan, Justice Hamza Muazu, and Justice Bello Kawu, the DG's DSS ought to have released Godwin Emefiele from detention. In the affidavit in support of the application, the consortium disposed to the fact Honorable Justice Hassan restrained the respondent in that suit, particularly the State Security Service, from arresting, detaining, or interrogating Emefiele for the offences connected to terrorism financing, money laundering, and round-tripping, financial crimes of national security dimension. While addressing newsmen after their possession at the registry of the court, Maxwell Opara says the group will pursue the matter to its logical conclusion and ensure that Director General State Security Service Magaji Bichi is sent to prison so as to serve as a deterrent to other heads of security agencies and top government officials that contempt of court and gross abuse of their office for personal revenge.
So when courts now, different courts gave an order saying that release this man since you don't have anything against him, lo and behold, he came up with a very funny charge, the most embarrassing charge I have ever seen since my year of practice: illegal possession of firearm, that a division, not even an area command, can investigate and prosecute. So the question now the entire world is asking is this: is it this illegal possession of a firearm? And the firearm, according to them, is all these ones, this type the hunters normally use. That's what they saw in his house, and they decided to file the charge there in Federal High Court, Lagos. So the question is, this charge we are seeing, is that the terrorism offense they said Emefiele committed? So we have resolved, we are not against whatever thing that they are filing. So, but we felt that Mr. Yusuf Magaji Bichi, the director of the SSS, we want to say enough is enough. We have come to file from 48 against him. We have commenced contempt proceedings against him for deceiving, disobeying court orders. Nigeria is not a Benin Republic. We have had several.
Here as counsel representing Emefiele, we have made that point very, very clear. We are here to talk about the executive recklessness and high-handedness of the executive. That is what we want to do. And we have made that point very, very clear. You see, the way and manner in which Emefiele and other Nigerians are being treated with scorn and disdain is something we can no longer take anymore. We can't take it. And that is the reason why
The lawyers, however, call on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to immediately relieve Yusuf Magaji Bichi of his appointment as DG DSS for having obviously misled the president that Emefiele had committed heinous crimes against the state, only for him to now file a charge of possession of a valid registered pump-action rifle against Emefiele.
Is, as Nigerians, every Nigerian do have the right to enforce the judgment of courts
or complaint against.
So, as Nigerians, and not only as Nigerians, but as lawyers, we are complaining against disobedience of an order of court by someone who is even saddled with responsibility to ensure that the order of court is obeyed. And as you well know, in fact, as my left friend said, I have a matter, a client of mine. This court released a client of mine on bail unconditionally, but that client of mine has been in DSS detention for more than 1 year. We are saying enough is enough. The essence of the rule of law is that the judiciary, once the judiciary makes any pronouncement,
It should be obeyed.
It should be obeyed by
the Republic. We have had several directors of DSSS. He's not the first one, and this is not going to be the last one. So we are filing it, and we are asking that now that it's obvious that he has a personal issue to settle with Emefiele, he should go and sort it out. He should not use Nigeria. He should not use any sign, any purported offense of terrorism to sort whatever problem he had with Emefiele. Just like as I said, Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu was one of those that fought for this democracy through NADECO. Now that he's the president, we want to call upon him as a matter of urgency. He should sack the director, DSSS, for embarrassing the entire world, for embarrassing Nigeria. Enough of this. This is one of the persons that made the government of President Muhammad Buhari unpopular.
we joined forces together with the world to call on the president to make sure that the DSS director is removed as soon as possible. In fact, tomorrow is too late. It is very, very important. That is the point that we are laboring to make. We're not here to represent Emefiele. We're not here to represent any particular person.
It is the position that, despite the clear and positive order of Justice Hassan and State Security Service, still went ahead to arrest and detain Emefiele, and has so detained him for well over a month while shopping for evidence which does not exist. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News, Abuja.
The Commander Nigerian Navy ship NNS Pathfinder, Commodore Suleiman Ibrahim, says the Navy has intensified efforts to track down crude oil thieves and ensure they were punished accordingly. Kikelomo Okere reports that Commodore Ibrahim stated this during the destruction of multiple truck lines connected to Wellhead 17, operated by Oil Mining License OML 18 belonging to Nigerian National Petroleum Company NNPCL Limited at LM Krakrama community in Degema local government area of Rivers State.
We are really suffering. It's not like we even like this job. I like even this kind of job.
It was a sorry sight to behold a once beautiful mangrove that gave aesthetics to the creeks of Niger Delta region reduced to shadow of itself, no thanks to the illicit oil bunkering. Leading journalist and staff of OML 18 to the well-held site, also known as Christmas Tree, to witness the destruction of the multiple trunks connected to the manifold. The commander, NNS Pathfinder Commodore Suleiman Ibrahim, says those involved in the economic sabotage will not go unpunished.
We've equally come with some of our heavy equipment to make sure we dismantle the illegal structures that are being used to siphon crude illegally. That's what we've been doing since morning. And if you look just around us, you would see a lot of the pipes which have been recovered from the general area where they were illegally deployed. What I have seen here is way beyond what I've seen anywhere. The sophistication is outside this world, you know. the individuals involved. They've taken their time, they've done a lot of measurements, they've done welding on site, and I think we are already doing something. We're tracking the people involved, but I want to assure the general public that all of those involved in this illegal activity would be arrested, and they would definitely have their day in court.
Earlier en route to the site of the Christmas tree, 4 men suspected to be oil thieves were intercepted along the creeks with a local boat laden with stolen automated gas oil, also known as diesel. On their confession, the suspect admitted going into the illicit business due to economic hardship.
We are just doing it because we don't have anything to do, sir. Please, if there's any way you can help us, I beg. Sir, I beg. Sir, we are begging. Help us. Sir, we have lots of responsibilities. I think my girlfriend is pregnant. And normal, she's from Delta State. You have to pay money, at least 1 or 2 introduction before she put to bed. But sir, no money from where now?
We do come here. Our own is to just get the product, go back to the person that sent us, deliver it. We don't have anything in without pipe or crude. We don't even know anything about crude oil. What we know is the diesel or kerosene. We have produced diesel, we have produced kerosene. Come and buy. The agents will call us. I have something. We are just drivers. We'll come to the place, they load us, we'll go back to Port Harcourt.
The oil mining license OML 18, which NNPC Limited recently maintained, has not commenced operation before the criminals took advantage. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, have arrested a 19-year-old student, Benjamin Nnamani Dabirichi, for attempting to export 7.2 kilograms of methamphetamine concealed in crayfish to Europe, where he was going for undergraduate studies. The teenage suspect was intercepted on Wednesday, 12th July, during an outward clearance of the passengers on Turkish airline flight TK0624. While being interviewed by operatives, Dabirichi claimed he was a student on his way to Cyprus for studies, but upon thorough search of his luggage, he was found in possession of 7.2 kg of whitish substance neatly concealed in a sack of crayfish. A field test of the substance, however, proved positive to methamphetamine. In the same vein, operatives of the Tiken Port Command of the agency on Tuesday, 11 July, intercepted 116.5 kg consignment of Colorado, a strong stain of cannabis, concealed in bags hidden in a heap of used vehicle parts on the floor of a container marked FCIU 8459700, bearing 3 units of used vehicles imported from Toronto, Canada. The chairman, Palliative Committee on Subsidy Removal and Kebbi Governor, Dr. Nasir Idris, has assured Nigerians that efforts were on to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal. The governor gave the assurance when members of the committee met in Abuja on Saturday. This is contained in a statement by the governor's spokesman, Ahmed Idris. The meeting had in attendance Governors Bala Muhammad of Bauchi, Charles Soludo of Anambra, Ubasani of Kaduna, and Haisindu Alia of Benue, as well as representatives of the organized labor and civil society organizations. The chairman assured that Nigerians would have a cause to smile soon, as the committee was doing its best to bring succor and ease to current difficulties. It could be recalled that on June 19, the federal government and the leadership of the NLC and the TUC agreed that all the issues and demands related to palliatives should be concluded within 8 weeks. A former Kaduna lawmaker and socio-political commentator, Shehu Sani, says the declaration of emergency on food security exposed what he called the deception of the rice pyramid and the futility of closing the land borders. Sani stated this in a statement via his verified Twitter handle on Sunday. According to Sani, Nigeria cannot have food security with farmers being slaughtered by terrorists. The former senator expressed worry that the bandits forcing the farming communities to pay levies, the country cannot have food security. Recall that President Bola Tinubu had declared a state of emergency on food security in the country. The declaration was made to mitigate the hardship experienced by Nigerians following the removal of fuel subsidy. The policy was introduced following Tinubu's wide consultation with stakeholders in the food agriculture value chain, co-opting the Central Bank of Nigeria, Customs, Farmers Association, key financial experts, among others. A new drug, donanemab, is being hailed as a turning point in the fight against Alzheimer's after a global trial confirms it slows cognitive decline. The antibody medicine helps in the early stages of the disease by clearing a protein that builds up in the brain of people with this type of dementia. Although not a cure, charities say the work is in the journal JAMA marks a new era where Alzheimer's can be treated. The UK's drug watchdog has stated assessing for possible NHS use. It works in Alzheimer's disease, not in other types of dementia, such as vascular dementia. In the trials, it appears to have slowed the pace of the disease by a third, allowing people to retain more of their day-to-day lives and tasks, such as making meals and enjoying a hobby. This is Global News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We'd like to remind you that we are on Star Times channel 276, and we urge you to follow us across all social media platforms at Global TVNG. When News Prime returns, Nigeria's inflation hits 22.79% in June 2023, and that's according to data from Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. We'll put all of that in perspective for you right after the short break. Be sure to stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. Let's talk about business and economy. The National Bureau of Statistics on Monday has said Nigeria's headline inflation rate accelerated from the sixth consecutive time to 22.79% in June 2023. The inflation rate in Africa's biggest economy rose to a new 17 high of 22.79% in June 2023 from 22.41% in the previous month. Food and non-alcoholic beverages at 11.81% led the list of items that contributed to the rising inflation figure. The World Bank had projected that the removal of fuel subsidy would contribute to the country's increase in inflation. In its June 2023 Nigeria Development Update, the bank said the removal of petrol subsidy is anticipated to cause a temporary increase in inflation in the upcoming months before contributing to deflation in the medium term. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has expressed its concern over the impending displacement of local meters manufacturers and assemblers in the downstream of the power sector in the National Mass Metering Program, NMMP. The Director General of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Segun Ajayi Kadir, stated that the advertised financial requirements and the technical specifications by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, appears to be skewed against the local manufacturers as they are outrageously stringent and negates the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN's guidelines for the implementation of National Mass Metering Program. He warned that the development portends grave danger for the power sector as the country may be witnessing a repeat of the unfortunate scenario in 2012 when local manufacturers were sidelined in the meter supply and the nation was greeted with supply of substandard meters. It should be recalled that in keeping with the federal government's backward integration policy and the advert of NMMP intervention, manufacturers have made huge investment in expansion of manufacturing capacities, trained and promoted highly skilled workforce to meet the demands of the power sector as envisaged in the Nigeria Electricity Supply Industry (NESI). And on the foreign scene, at least 40 people in South Korea have died after a weekend of severe rains caused widespread flooding and landslides across the country. The disaster have prompted calls from President Yoon Suk Yeol to overhaul how the country combats extreme weather arising from climate change. On Monday, the nation was reeling from the tunnel tragedy where at least 13 people died in their vehicles after becoming trapped by floodwaters. The full death toll is still unknown as at least 15 vehicles, including a bus, were trapped in the underpass on Saturday when floodwater from the nearby bus riverbank poured in. 9 survivors have been found so far. Meanwhile, families of those missing have waited anxiously for information at a local hospital. Police said they will launch an investigation into the fatal flooding of the underpass. For updates in entertainment, Chung Anamel Joseph has the latest.
Victory Baccara has emerged winner of Nigerian Idol Season 8 after 8 weeks of thrilling performances and highly competitive episodes. The show, which began 28th of May 2023 with top 10 contestants out of 29 talented singers, rounded up yesterday, 16th of July. Making it to the finals were the top 2 contestants, Victory Baccara and Precious Mark, as the first runner-up, to win the coveted grand prize that includes 35 million in cash, a brand new SUV, 1 Biggie refrigerator, and 1 year supply of Biggie soft drink. An all-expense-paid trip courtesy of Techno, a music record deal by a reputable label that will include a video shoot, 1 year supply of Wow detergent, and installed DSTV Explorer with 1 year of premium subscription. The live show had wholesome moments where the families of both finalists were introduced, as well as great musical performances from Nigeria's music stars Simi, Faith, Johnny Drill, and Season 7 winner Progress Chukuyem. Victory appreciated his fans for their vote and immense support throughout the show. He then closed off the 8th edition of the show with a beautiful performance of Wizkid's Blessed. Chung Anamel Joseph, Global TV News.
And from the world of sport, Fidelis Yengwena is standing by.
Good start there from Near Ali. Near Ali possibly leading a little bit at the moment. Good running from Kendra Harrison.
Breasting the tape in the photo finish ahead of United States of America duo Kendra Harrison and Ali Nia. World record holder in women's 100 meters hurdles event, Tobi Amusan, has again etched a name in the records book after breaching to a meeting record and season's best of 12.34 seconds to win the women's 100 meters hurdles at the Wanda Diamond League in Poland on Sunday.
At a time, don't pressure yourself. We'll come together when it needs to. And I'm thankful that I came out here with a season best.
And of course, you're looking at the worlds to be again whichever.
Man, one race at a time. You guys don't pressure me. One race at a time. I'm just trusting God.
From getting a first Diamond League win of the season in the women's 100 meters hurdles in Stockholm, after running an impressive 12.52 seconds and settling for second and third positions behind Olympic champion Jasmine Camacho Quinn in Ostrava and Lausanne. The world record holder Tobi Amusan now boasts of 2 consecutive wins and will be all out to get a third win against competitors like newly crowned United States champion Nia Ali, the 26-year-old Commonwealth Games champion who recently dazzled at the national trials at the Samuel Ogbabuja Stadium in Edo State, will now gear up to defend a title at the World Athletics Championship later this year in Budapest. Fidelix Yengwena for Global Television News.
And that's it on Global TV News Prime. Remember, we're on channels 276 in Star Times. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms at Global TVNG. On behalf of the production team, I am Priscilla Obasi, thanking you so very much for watching. Have a pleasant evening.